Good morning, Belton High School. I'm Brooke Truman, and you're watching Cutlass TV News. The FFA team competed in a state competition this past weekend. Here's more about the event with Caleb Gormanic, Brittany Jackson, and Austin Farrow.
Last week, FFA headed to state for their competition. Ms. Reggers gives insight on how her team placed.
With COVID, we really weren't sure as a state FFA association if we were going to even have contests. So we really didn't get started preparing until February. So what that kind of consisted of was me driving around Belton and getting nursery and landscaping cuttings from people's plants that they had at their house, and then getting in contact with the community and asking them, hey, do you have these cuttings? Can I come take them from your yard? And then we actually went to Belton Memorial Park quite a bit and looked at the trees and looked at the cuttings there because they had so many of them on our list. So a lot of it was just going and looking at plants, because in the nursery and landscaping contest, the plants that we had 8 weeks ago don't look the same as they do today, because now everything's starting to blossom out and starting to get leaves. And so we had to do that quite a bit. We had weekly practices, and then towards the end, to get ready for state, we had twice a week practices. And then we did a lot of studying in class, because I had all 4 of them together in my plant science class. So they did a lot of tests and practicums to study in class, as well as looking at the plants that we had around the room that we would bring in from the park and for people's houses. So competition obviously looked a little different this year with COVID, but typically what competition looks like is we all get together during state convention time, which they didn't allow this year because of the large gatherings with COVID, and students compete against the other top chapters around the state in that contest. So for this particular contest, they have to ID 50 of the 88 plants that are on the nursery and landscaping list. They have a landscape design practicum in which they're given a map with a landscape drawing, and they have to decide, based on the elements of design, which flowering shrub goes better here, and then how much mulch is needed in the backyard, or how much grass seed is needed in the backyard. And then they have a 50-question general knowledge test, and then they also have to identify diseases and disorders on plants. And so they'll rotate them in stations, and then they'll fill out a Scantron, which is kind of like they use for Mastery Connect. It's just something that's graded really quickly, and they'll send it through a scanner. And then they take the top 3 scores out of your team of 4, and that's how they score you to decide which team is the best. So nursery and landscape is a little weird. I guess FFA is a little different, simply because once you go to state and compete in a certain contest, you can't go to that same contest ever again. So the students that did nursery and landscape this year don't get to compete in nursery and landscape ever again. And so a couple of them have decided that they want to try to do forestry, which is another contest. And then the cool thing is that a couple of students, Jaden and Colin, their siblings are actually coming up, and they're going to be freshmen next year. And they've kind of been pushing them and encouraging them to try to do nursery and landscape next year. So I guess my goal is to try to get some more students involved in the different contests. And hopefully that will help when we have more in-person students this next year. And just kind of get them involved in contests, because contests are really fun. And then to have just as much success, if not more success, this next year as we did this year.
Junior Jaden Goff shares about the event.
So since we competed this year at state, we can't compete in the same competition next year, but I plan to start early in August, so we have more time to really learn and go over everything that will be in contest, since we're doing forestry next year. I don't really know what I'm doing after high school, but I think it piqued an interest in a lot of other opportunities for me, and throughout contests, I've met a lot of people, so with meeting new people, I can further explore my opportunities. I just want more active members, and I want a lot more contest teams, because it's really fun, and I love hanging out with Reggers, and everybody will love Reggers. I just think we need more participation.
Sophomore Colin McIntyre talks about how they placed and their goals for next season.
This year we competed in the nursery and landscape contest, which consisted of a ID of plants that we did of 88 plants in total. We identified 50 during the contest. We had a diseases and disorders contest, which was the identification of 20 different diseases that was on the list. We had 2 tests. One was a practicum, where you solved math, figuring out how much it would cost to put what materials where and what plants you would put in those places, and the general knowledge test that had to do over basic general knowledge over the nursery and landscape competition. So probably I think where we peaked the best was at state. We were 11th out of 25 teams there. Individually, we all placed the best that we could, and I think that next year we're gonna hit it pretty hard and go in to be top 5. Next year, we're actually gonna start way sooner than we did this year. This year we kind of threw it together last minute. We kind of got started in February. This next year we hope to get started hopefully the middle of summer to right before school starts. My studies in FFA have probably been to make it to area office, and this will help me meet new people and show others what it means to be a leader, and that's what I'm going to try and have everyone else. My goals for next year is to have a bigger FFA group and have more people show up to the competitions and the meetings and get more people involved in the FFA.
With Brittany Jackson and Austin Farrow, I'm Caleb Cormanek with Cullis TV News.
The Senior Decision Day took place virtually on Tuesday. Here's more about the celebration with Aubrey Fricke, Mason Fulton, and Tyler Fulton.
Senior Kennedy Moss describes her reaction winning her prize and what she plans to do in the future.
I'm going to school at Fort Scott for 2 years, and then after that, I'm going to figure it out. I got the $20 gift card to Target, and I might buy a couple pens or pencils with it. When I won the prize, I was surprised because no one in our class had won anything yet.
Senior Liberty Donovan describes what she's planning to do with her prize and her reaction to winning.
I'm attending MCC for 2 years, and then I'm going to move to Colorado and pursue art therapy. Well, I've started using it now, actually. So I got the food one. So I've started, using the water bottle that I got in it. I have the water bottle with me today, and just, eating the food that came out of it. I got ramen that I ate. I gave, the Slim Jims to my boyfriend, and well, in Trofimoff's class, which is my advisory class, my reaction was we all had cider, so we were cheersing and just kind of celebrating. It wasn't crazy, but of course I was happy to win something. It's free.
Miss Helene Slinker describes what Decision Day is and what it's like working with the seniors.
The purpose of Decision Day is to celebrate all the accomplishments that seniors have made this year and to honor where they're going next after high school. So May 1st is National Decision Day, but since that falls on a Saturday, we did it a little bit early so you guys could celebrate an advisory. And it's really just a recognition of where seniors are going after high school. So I work with an organization called Missouri College Advising Corps, and they gave me a bit of a budget for the event. So with that budget, I was able to buy some of the bigger prizes like the TV and the laptop, but also staff members of Belton High School donated a ton of stuff. So all the gift baskets I had, really for a lot of them, the only thing I bought was a basket, and I was able to fill it with all sorts of stuff from teachers and staff. It's been really good. I've been really fortunate to work with such a great senior class, and even the virtual students that I've met with have been so kind and so willing to do all that they can to reach college or even trade school or whatever it is that they have after high school.
With Tyler Fulton, Aubrey Fricke, I'm Mason Fulton with Cullis TV News.
Thanks for watching. Tune in next time, and as always, Carpe Diem.